Xbox Game Pass has been out for several years already, and one thing is certain, Xbox gamers are flocking to the service as more and more games and first-party exclusives begin to hit it. So here, I've rummaged through the games on offer and present my top 100 games on the service right now for your Xbox Series X, S, or Xbox One, or even via the cloud, and each game here must take up its own spot, no including a whole series in the one position. Otherwise the list will be huge, and this one will be nice and quick between games so we get through them all. And remember, this is just my top 100, but if you like the video, then please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share it around, and leave a comment, as it helps a lot to push the video out. Stop by the Discord, but now let's rank the best 100 games for me on Xbox Game Pass. Let's do it. At 100, it's Black, and the original Xbox shooter from EA, which is still fun, has some difficulty associated with it, but it still looks pretty impressive for such an older game. Up next, it's Knockout City, another one from EA which basically plays out like a game of dodgeball, except it's over several different maps, and of course it's multiplayer, and it's pretty damn good. For number 98, it's Recore, released at a budget price on the Xbox One. This has some good shooting and a nice world, and I hope we do get a sequel to this at some point. Number 97 is Quake, one of the granddaddies of modern day shooters. Still a ton of fun, runs fantastically as you would expect. Definitely play this if you never have. At 96, it's Rage, and I think this one is superior to the sequel, and it still looks impressive when playing via backwards compatibility. A good, solid shooter and world. Next, it's Greedfall. This one is a bit rough around the edges, but there is a lot to like here for an RPG. Decent story and great setting, one to play when you've played the more well-known RPGs. Coming in at 94, it's Brutal Legend, and these sorts of games don't get made much anymore. Great voice acting from Jack Black and a great heavy metal vibe. Check this one out. At 93, it's Curse of the Dead Gods, a roguelike dungeon crawler where you take on enemies as you dodge traps in the isometric slaughterfest. Number 92 is Dirt 5, and you pretty much know what to expect with this one. A very solid rally game that looks quite good as well. A lot to get through here for racing fans. Next at 91 is For Honor, and this medieval action fighter sees you play as one of a number of factions. It looks great, plays well, and it's often overlooked. And for 90, it's Dishonored 2, and this one has you choose between two playable characters, plus it has some awesome level design in it. One for those who love having abilities and being stealthy. Next, it's Mortal Kombat 11. You know what to expect, it also looks stellar as well. For number 88, it's Mirror's Edge, and this is even better, running at 60 frames a second on the Series X. Great parkour, and still looks pretty damn good too. At 87, it's Scarlet Nexus, for those who love their RPGs, more on the JRPG side of things. Lots of fun and a solid game all around. 86 is Skate 3, and skateboarding and extreme sports were all the rage back in the day, but the Skate series was more for those who wanted a more grounded skateboarding experience. And next is Steep, for those who prefer their board on snow instead, plus the other events that the game offers. Flew under the radar this one, but it's good. For 84, it's Minecraft, another game that needs no introduction. It looks basic, you build shit, it has a ton of depth, and has sold more copies than many whole series could ever hope for. At 83, it's Grounded, and yeah, technically it's a beta, but there's enough here that it's really a whole game already. Tiny characters and a large amount of depth. Next, it's Destroy All Humans Remastered, so it takes an old but solid game and makes it look and perform better. Good gameplay and time period. Coming in at 81, it's Bloodroots, the isometric gore fest, which will see you simply killing everything in sight, and this one can get a bit addictive too. Number 80 is Jurassic World Evolution, which sees you controlling the park full of dinosaurs. Lots to sink your teeth into, especially for those who enjoy strategy and management style games. Next, it's Ryse, Son of Rome, and considering this was a launch game on the Xbox One, it still looks shit hot. Can get repetitive, but it's still a lot of fun despite that. For 78, it's Snowrunner, and now this one won't be for everyone, but it's a good, relaxing game that still requires concentration, very different to what you may usually play. And at 77, it's Subnautica, which will have you crafting items as you explore this underwater place littered with things to collect, but also things to avoid. Check this one out. Next at 76, it's Undertale, and you'll need to get past the basics of the visuals and presentation to appreciate this RPG and its story, but it's impressive if it appeals to you. 75, it's Wolfenstein: The New Order, and this one brought back a classic from decades ago, the grandfather of first-person shooters, but there are better ones on the list. For 74, it's Alice: Madness Returns, and this one is just so much fun with a great spin on a classic tale, and it still looks pretty damn good as well. Highly recommended this one, especially for platformer fans. Next, it's the criminally forgotten and underrated Crimson Skies, an excellent arcade flying game, and sure as shit, if this doesn't get a sequel at some point, I'm going to be annoyed as hell. In at 72, it's Dead Cells, another roguelike which will have you killing enemies through procedurally generated levels. For those who like these, it's a must play. For 71, it's Deep Rock Galactic, for those looking for a co-op experience set in procedurally generated underground environments. Being co-op, this is all about the PvE experience. Next, it's Injustice 2, and this one does a really good job with its characters and story, which I really like about some modern fighters. You like fighting games? You like superheroes? Play this. At 69, it's Halo 5. The gameplay here is excellent, as it always is with Halo, but the story is a letdown. But I always thought the multiplayer was very good though as well. For 68, it's NARITA Boy, and if you like 80s inspired, neon, retro, pixel art, and a great soundtrack, plus good gameplay, then this is a must play, very underrated game. Next is Rare Replay, which includes several games from the classic days of Rare, so the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Blast Corps, Jet Force Gemini, and more, but sorry, no GoldenEye. And for 66, it's Star Wars Squadrons. Gameplay wise, this is a really good space shooter set in the Star Wars universe. It just lacks the big budget when it comes to scope and storytelling, but it's really good. For number 65, it's The Artful Escape, a gorgeous indie game with beautiful backdrops and a sense of weirdness in its visuals and story, which is just great. Gameplay is decent, but not the main draw card. 64 is The Forgotten City, and you should play this if it appeals to you, as it's not very long, but it's got a good story and premise, quality visuals, great setting, plus it was made by just a few people. Next is Rainbow Six Siege, and if you haven't played this yet, then be prepared to get the shit kicked out of you as you learn. Deep, classic Rainbow Six, but rewarding if you invest the time. For 62, it's Batman Arkham Knight. Yeah, it had maybe too much Batmobile love. It's still a great game, and hopefully we get a 60 frames per second boost sometime in the future. Coming in at 61 is Fable 2, the best Fable, nestled between the very good first game and the not so great third game. But for any Xbox fan, you need to play at least this one. Next is Hollow Knight, another game where you're exploring an underground place, and be prepared for difficulty with this one as well, as you melee the enemies and use long range attacks. At 59, it's Microsoft Flight Sim, and if you want a holy shit moment in terms of graphics, then this is right up there. Hard for casual players to get into, but if this is your jive, then you'll be in heaven. For 58, it's Mortal Shell, the Dark Souls wannabe that is really good. It may wear its inspiration on its sleeve, but it can stand on its own. Definitely one for the Soulsborne fans like me. Number 57 is Quantum Break, and as a big Remedy fan, well, minus Crossfire X, I enjoyed the hell out of this game. Great slow motion combat, great story. Hopefully one day we get a sequel, but I doubt it. Next is Shadow Warrior 2, and this is so much better when played at 60 frames per second on the series consoles. Lots of fun with this one when shooting and slashing through enemies. Humor can be a bit hit and miss. Coming in at 55 is The Evil Within, and both of these games are very good. Equal parts storytelling, action, and horror, and it all gels together very well. Underrated series. For number 54, it's Visage, another horror game set in a cliched setting of a house, but it has great atmosphere, looks good, and has all the important tension present. Next is Morrowind, which is an awesome game. It is further down the list due to its age and how it was a miracle it even ran on the OG Xbox, but it's still an awesome RPG. But the Elder Scrolls will return on the list. And for 52, it's The Ascent, one of the best worlds in any game out there. The detail is awesome, the action is awesome, I'm awesome, you're all awesome, play The Ascent. For 51, it's Death's Door, another isometric game where you'll be chipping away at enemies, but it also has a cute art style, but also may challenge you at times as well. It's a hidden gem. At the halfway point at number 50, we have Dante's Inferno, and I friggin' really like this game. Great premise and story, engaging combat, and graphics which still really hold up today. For 49, it's Dragon Age Inquisition, and probably the biggest problem with this game is that it has some filler and not so good side quests, but it also has good characters and a good story, very much worthy of playing for RPG fans. Coming in at 48, it's Gears Tactics, the strategy genre which is often forgotten on consoles, but this is so awesome and fits in so well with the Gears franchise. So damn good. And at 47, it's Limbo, and how can a black and white side-scrolling game be so f***ing good? Well, you'll just need to play it. Then after that, play Inside, but that's not on Game Pass. Awesome games though. Up at 46, it's State of Decay 2. It's still rough around several edges, but the biggest thing for this game is that I want a State of Decay 3 more. A true AAA game that it deserves. Next, it's Jedi Fallen Order. Sometimes it doesn't know what it wants to be, but it was a return to form for Star Wars. Good story, looks good, and can be quite hard if you want it to be. At 44, it's Sunset Overdrive, a game which should have had a sequel years ago. It's a one of a kind with style and substance. Not much else like this, play it. Coming in at 43, it's Yakuza Like a Dragon. Not the last time this series will be on the list, but the same thing still applies. Awesome story, characters and world. That's it, it's awesome, check it out. And at 42, it's Forza Motorsport, and if you want a track racer sim, then Forza is the go-to. There are other great sim racers out there, but Forza 7 just will make you think what the Forza 8 is going to give us. 41, it's The Surge 2, and if you like Soulsborne games, then this will give you that hit with a really good sci-fi twist and hacking off enemy limbs to add to your character. It's awesome and underrated. Coming in at 40 is A Way Out, and if you're after a co-op game, then you should definitely check this out. And this comes from the same studio that has another game on the list. For number 39, I'm going with Alien Isolation. Now straight up, the game is awesome. It's an awesome Aliens game, and it's a fantastic horror game. Does the license justice, so damn good. Next is Battlefield Bad Company. You know, when Battlefield was not only good, it was memorable, and if we don't get a Bad Company 3 at some point, then I'll be pissed. Up at 37 we have Halo Infinite, which is a return to form for the series, but does have some shortcomings I've discussed before. When it comes to the gameplay though, wow, it's f***ing good. 36 is Hades, and another game which you can see why it won so many Game of the Year awards. The gameplay is awesome, the story and characters are awesome, the visuals are awesome. You know, it's kind of awesome. Next at 35 is Hitman 3. Now if this style of game is for you, then play any of the Hitman games really. The third game looks fantastic, but also has content from the previous games in it too. Check this one out. Coming in at 34 is Ori and the Will of the Wisps. The first game is good too, but the sequel just expanded upon everything and made the sequel easily the better game. Good emotional story too. Next we have Sea of Thieves, the game so many people think nobody plays, but so many do. Huge game world, beautiful graphics, great co-op, and so many content drops. Maybe you should live the pirate life. And at 32 we have The Outer Worlds, another great RPG that was just let down in a couple of areas, but a sequel is going to be f***ing awesome. Plus the sequel had one of the best game trailers, period. 31 we have Battlefield 3, another example as to why Battlefield 2042 is just complete shit. Battlefield 3 has a fantastic campaign and still looks and plays beautifully. Drink in that Battlefield nostalgia. Coming in at 30 it's Dead Space 2, taking an awesome first game and making, well, an awesome sequel before the not so great third. The Dead Space games are so fantastic. Great horror, great action, great setting, great and everything. For 29 it's Firewatch, the walking simulator that has an engaging story and bond between the characters that I couldn't help but adore. Not for everyone, but it's a gem. At 28 it's Hellblade, another game that now has 60 frames per second, but also ray tracing as well. But more than that, it already looked incredible, good gameplay and fantastic in dealing with the material. Bring on Hellblade 2. Next at 27 it's Nier Automata, the game you need to play multiple times in order to get the full story. The combat is also quick and fast, even if the environments are a bit sparse, but it's very special. And 26 it's The Outer Wilds. This one still runs poorly on the series consoles, really needs an FPS boost, but it offers a lot. Man, the less said about it the better, as it needs to be played. Next we have Wasteland 3 from inXile, which is just an incredible strategy game and an example as to why more of this genre should be making a comeback and be on consoles. It's excellent. 24 it's A Plague Tale Innocence, a game which came out of nowhere for myself, but which blends slight action, stealth, story, graphics and everything else together so well. It's just a f***ing excellent game. At 23 we have Gears 5, the game that looks incredible on even the base Xbox One. The open world bits can be here or not, but the gunplay, characters, world are so damn good. Next, it's Gears of War 2, perhaps the pinnacle of the series because it took the first game and just elevated its story and characters and mixed up the gameplay, so damn good as well. 21, and there was a reason this won so many Game of the Year awards. Perhaps player numbers would be down due to needing to play it co-op, but it had some fantastic gameplay and story theme. We hit the top 20 and we have Nobody Saves the World, the game I never knew I wanted until I played it. Another isometric dungeon crawler, but it's so much deeper than that, with multiple playable characters. Play it. At 19, it's Prey, made even better with the 60 frames per second boost, but the game has an excellent setting, good gameplay, a nice horror tone and intriguing story. Microsoft, give ARKHAM more money, make Prey 3, please, for f***'s sake. For 18, we have Doom Eternal, the Slaughterfest, which brought an absolute classic first-person shooter into the modern day, along with Doom 2016. It's so damn awesome. Play it if you like fast-paced first-person shooters. Next, it's Psychonauts 2, the platformer that exceeded its first game, and most other platformers out there as well. Good gameplay, but great story, characters, and stylized visuals. Number 16 is What Remains of Edith Finch, a really good looking walking simulator that has you learning about the demise of each member of the Finch family. Great game here. At 15, it's Guardians of the Galaxy, a lengthy action adventure with a cast of characters which are well written and all gelled together. Good gameplay, and it looks f***ing gorgeous too. For 14, we have The Walking Dead Season 1, an incredible sort of choose your own adventure game. Excellent characters, especially Clementine, who is one of the best in any game ever, in my opinion. Number 13 sees Resident Evil 7 take the place, a return to form for the series at the time, but it looks excellent. The mansion setting is cliched but fantastic, equal parts story, action and scares, it's great. Next at 12 is Yakuza 6, and if you're after a series where there's a lot of them, but they are all excellent in their own way, then look to Yakuza. The storytelling and the characters are fantastic especially. At 11, it's Dead Space, a great example as to how to blend story, horror, action, and enemy design into a fantastic experience. It still looks really good. This one has aged really well. We kick off the top 10 with the awesome Titanfall 2. I can't say enough good things about this game, especially the single player campaign. Fantastic levels and a great companion. Titanfall 2 is f***ing incredible. At 9, it's No Man's Sky, and there is nothing else on the list that comes close to how much freedom you have in this game. It's amazing, and the Series X and S update have just taken it to another level. For number 8, we have Dragon Age Origins, and this shows a little bit of its age on the technical side of things, but the RPG side with the story, characters and quests are all still excellent. Bring on Dragon Age 4. Coming in at 7 is Fallout 3, bringing a beloved franchise into the first-person perspective, and it did it fantastically. The shooting isn't great, but the overall package is excellent. Next is Fallout New Vegas. This is just slightly ahead of Fallout 3, as I think the story and choices are just a bit better, but both are great. As I said in another video, there's a lot of f***ing colour brown here though. Now it's the top 5, and we start with Halo the Master Chief Collection. How can you go past multiple Halo games all looking and performing better than all those years ago? The answer? You can't, and this collection is fantastic. There is so much Halo to get through, and for new players or those who want to revisit the series, then this is just excellent. Plus there's all the multiplayer too. Number 4 is Forza Horizon 5, one of the greatest open worlds out there today, and a brilliant blend of arcade and simulation action. It looks and performs incredibly, especially on the Series X, but also on the base Xbox One. There is a huge amount of content, and Playground will keep supporting the game. Plus it's just incredible how the 5th game in the series can be the best, but I think it is. It's such a total package when it comes to a racer, and it's exceptional. For number 3, we have Skyrim, and this open world still impresses today. And with the graphical upgrades, it still looks so damn good. A huge amount of freedom and quests, plus mods. Skyrim is a classic in every sense of the word. I mean, there's a reason why Bethesda tried to sell it to us 10 times and it still gets bought. An open world RPG classic. At number 2, it's The Elder Scrolls Online, and this game seems to get forgotten all the time, but if you are a huge RPG fan, you can also play this co-op. Plus, it has more content than you could ever possibly imagine. Plus, it's just had an Xbox Series X and S enhancement to bring the level of graphics to a more modern standard. It definitely looks better, but not as good as many other games. But when it comes to its world, freedom, and all the different builds you can do, the Elder Scrolls Online is incredible. And at number 1, we have Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Even if this didn't exist, I would have included each of the Xbox 360 games on the list. But now we have this one compilation, which looks and performs much better than on the last gen systems. You can watch some other videos of mine where I mention just how great the series is, but this is a huge get for Game Pass and a perfect way for new players to discover this absolutely incredible series. For returning players, all you'll need to hear is the title screen music of Mass Effect 1 for all those memories to come flooding back. Incredible series. So there are the top 100 games on Xbox Game Pass for myself, and that's around almost only a quarter of what is actually available to be played. So that was a long list to get through, so I may go have a lie down. But please let me know which games you're currently playing or which ones you're going to check out on Xbox Game Pass. Leave a comment down below as it helps tremendously in pushing the video out. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, share it around, and stop by the Discord. And with that, I'll see you on the next video.